Now, global security, trade and investment will dominate the talks when President Cyril Ramaphosa hosts his Finnish counterpart, President Sauli Niinisto, at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. Now, the Finnish leader is here for a state visit. The Nordic country was one of the staunch supporters of the anti-Apartheid movement, and Khayelihle Khumalo joins us now here in studio to take a look at this latest visit, a state visit to Pretoria. So, Khayelihle, good morning. So, undoubtedly, the Russia-Ukraine war, when we talk about geopolitical architecture at this stage, will be one of the topics that would be top of mind.
Well, very much so, Sakina, especially because when you look at Finland, this is Russia's neighbor. And recently we saw on the 4th of April that Finland had to join NATO because of their invasion of Ukraine. So they had their own concerns. And really, it really marked an end of a non-alignment when it comes to the military for the longest time for Finland. Because for the longest time, really, they always had this treaty with Russia where they had this friendship. Because, I mean, this is a very tiny country with about 5.6 million population, with a massive neighbor such as Russia. So in light of the insecurity in the region, in the Baltic Sea, of course, within the Nordic region as well. So hence this particular move. But also we do know that the issue of the Russia-Ukraine conflict really having far-reaching implications beyond the Nordic countries, having far-reaching implications in the continent in terms of food security. It's one of the main issues that the two leaders will be looking at. But also we do know that for the longest time, South Africa has been advocating for a non-aligned position. And Pretoria has been very defensive around this particular position because it says it doesn't want to play with the superpowers where it's caught up in proxy wars. So it's going to be a very clear point, especially because we know that countries, for example, like Finland, they've blasted South Africa. For example, Sakina, they go as far as saying that when there was apartheid in South Africa, they were not neutral. They really took a side where they said they denounced apartheid atrocities. So in this particular instance, again, they want to invoke in South Africa's memories, regarding this particular situation.
So that, of course, is going to be interesting because I think both parties are very clear in terms of where they stand with regard to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But then, of course, trade relations, when we have these state visits, those also obviously are top of mind, given where we are. Our economy is struggling at the moment. We're trying to revive that. But let's talk about the trade relations between the two countries. How extensively do we trade with Finland?
Well, precisely, Sakina, with COVID-19, the two economies really suffered quite immensely. And in fact, this particular state visit was supposed to happen in 2020, but with the advent of COVID-19, they had to postpone. So the issue of the economy is really going to take a center stage as well, especially because, you talk about Finland. This is a country that has positioned itself in terms of the digital economy, in terms of many other issues as well, but also within the multilateral institution as well. This is a country that has positioned itself as a peace-loving country in terms of advocating for peace, making, that South Africa as well, when you look at their foreign policy, the issue of peace and security is always quite central, especially in the continent. So Finland as well, they do share that particular aspiration. But during the course of the state visit by President Niinisto, there'll be an interaction with the business community to try and deepen trade between the two nations. It's quite paltry at this point. It's less than 2 billion rand. So there are so many opportunities that the two countries can explore. When we spoke to the ambassador of Finland yesterday, she was also speaking about how their bilateral relation has evolved, from the days of fighting against apartheid to now matured partners, really, in so many aspects.
And just finally, the Finnish delegation also set to visit Namibia once they leave South Africa. And, South Africans, I think, especially of late, where we've seen some deals where companies have come into South Africa, perhaps not had the sort of joy they wanted and gone next door to Namibia. So, any indications of, what that particular leg of this visit will entail?
Another very key indicator around this particular state visit in Namibia, Sakina, is the issue of Namibia being one of the stable democracies in Southern Africa. So we do understand that President Niinisto on the 27th of April will be meeting with President Hage Geingob, where also Namibia and Finland will be pursuing, just their interest and looking at ways of boosting trade. But also prior to that, there will be a very fascinating engagement here at the Wits University, where President Niinisto will be engaging with the international relations students. And one of the themes will be around the shifting geopolitics. And of course, it's going to be a very fascinating and a very intriguing subject matter, given what is happening in the global politics.
Khayelihle Khumalo, thank you so much for breaking that down for us. And this, of course, the state visit of the Finnish President to South Africa, along with his delegation. Well, that's where we're going to leave that, and we're going to wrap the news there. Take a break, and when we come back, more Morning Live. Promised you a jam-packed show this morning, and that's exactly how it's playing out.